Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Priscilla Vijalta, and welcome to your Monday edition of FSU Weather. Right now, we've got that gorgeous sunset over Doak Campbell Stadium, and it's currently 67 degrees. It's pretty sunny out, but we do have those winds coming from the west at 5 miles per hour. Those clear skies that we see across the Big Bend are associated with that high system that we're experiencing currently, but tonight it'll be pretty chilly, reaching 39 here in Tallahassee, 46 down in Apalachicola. So it's going to be pretty chilly. You know, you want to bundle up and cuddle maybe ahead of Valentine's Day. Again, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. It'll be 73 degrees. Very nice day out, but we will have winds from the south at 11 miles per hour. So, you know, hold on to your jacket. And for tonight's show, we've got severe storms expected later in the week, snowfall across the nation, and your Tallahassee weekday planner. All that and more on FSU Weather.
Thank you, Priscilla. So I hope everyone had a super weekend this past Super Bowl weekend. I know I had a great time with my friends, and it was really, really great to see our Queen Rihanna finally back after so many years. I mean, really, it's like, where have you been all of this time? And she really was shining up there just like a diamond. Well, speaking of shining and diamonds, like the stars in the sky, we have some gorgeously clear and cool conditions tonight, which we are going to talk about more later. And that is going to change a little bit through the week as we have an increased chance of severe weather, as we have some systems making their way across the United States. All of this and much more that we're going to be going into much depth about later this evening. We're going to pass things to the wall to Jason for a look at some local weather.
Yeah, Spencer, thank you. Right now, it's a beautiful sunset, not a cloud in the sky. Just right over Doak Campbell Stadium, 67 degrees, sunny, winds are light, a lot better than the past couple days. I know Sunday was very windy, it's made it very cold on that day, but right now, current temperatures are just completely mid-60s, they'll be dropping throughout the night, probably going to even get into the low 40s or even 30s maybe. Wind direction right now, as I was saying before, it's kind of cool, it's kind of dipping off than what it was this past weekend, which is good because it was very cold this weekend, especially Sunday. I know I was walking to the library. I was very cold. But looking at the temperature almanac, it's going to be around the average. So it's pretty good. Actually going to be lower than the average, or by 10 degrees. So that's pretty cool for this time of year. And luckily, we're not going to be getting -2 because that would be really bad, especially in mid-February. Satellite radar, just clear. It's a perfectly great day to go outside, even this entire week, except for Friday, but I'll get to that more later. And looking at the future radar, just going to be clear, we're going to be seeing those winds shift as that high pressure moves out of our system. As Priscilla was saying, we're going to be seeing those southerly winds throughout our area on Tuesday. Tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be 38 degrees, so it's going to be really cool, partly cloudy, winds staying 5 miles an hour, so not really changing too much. But as we look in our day planner forecast, there's going to be slightly of a chance of rain at 6 a.m., but I'm not predicting too much of rain at all. And we're going to be seeing that temperature drastically increase as we get through our day tomorrow. Because of that humidity range is humidity is so small, we're going to be seeing a huge temperature range from 39 degrees all the way to 66 at noon and tomorrow. Local forecast showing us tomorrow's high is going to be 73, and then throughout our area, maybe a little colder throughout on the coast because of those southerly winds. But then as we get closer to our northern parts of our Tallahassee viewing area, Thomasville is going to be 72, so similar to Tallahassee right now. The week ahead, looking at it, it's going to be a beautiful week, perfect for Valentine's Day, perfect to cuddle. And on Friday, we're going to be seeing those rain chances go back in our forecast, and then a cold front going through. It'll be a beautiful day on Saturday. But now I'm going to sit next to Aaron because he's going to be talking about something really important.
Yes, I will be talking about the importance of the great weather we've been having here across much of the southeast. So look, Panama City Beach there with that sunshine. I'll step back here for just a moment. That way you guys can look at the cameras here. But we're seeing those really nice skies here tonight with those sunsets all across the state from Panama City Beach over towards Miami, Florida, where we're not seeing very much in the way of any cloud cover, perhaps maybe a few upper level cirrus clouds there over across Miami, but overall a really nice night across much of the Sunshine State. Our current temperatures across the air, or across the state, I should say, are for the most part in the 60s and 70s. So we have those 70s down towards the Keys. There's 74 in Key West, 66 in Fort Myers, and then we're sitting in the mid to upper 60s here across much of the Big Bend. Also, the dry air is also the other part of the equation here, where we have really comfortable dew points here across much of the state with widespread 30s and 40s. So that's that nice feel in the atmosphere. That's why it felt a lot drier today, and it felt more like the actual temperature it showed outside. Radar is dry and quiet here across much of the state, where we will perhaps maybe see a few little showers off in the Gulf, or probably backscattering too potentially. But all that cloud cover, those cumulus clouds are staying off towards the Atlantic, so perhaps a stray shower or two down towards Nassau and the Bahamas there, but we're staying really high and dry here across the rest of the evening here. Miami, we're sitting pretty warm, getting to near 80 degrees or so by Wednesday and Thursday, with those overnight lows also creeping back up to near summertime levels. It may not feel quite as bad, but it'll still feel a bit more humid than it certainly has been over the past several days or so, with those 70s coming back in and perhaps those dew points upwards in near the 60s or so. Tampa, also pretty similar story with those temperatures creeping back up into the 80s. Perhaps a 10% chance of a stray shower or two around the Tampa Bay region, but overall it should stay also pretty dry across the area. In Orlando, we're actually going to see pretty close to a scorcher there by Wednesday and Thursday, where those temperatures will reach the middle 80s. And honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if we've seen a few temperatures go up into the upper 80s. So please do dress accordingly, especially as we get towards mid to late week, this upcoming week or so. And as for Jacksonville, we're also going to be going up into the 80s. That's kind of the story here, as you haven't seen yet across much of Florida, where we're going to see these temperatures warming up across the entire state. And in Pensacola, pretty similar story here, where it's not until Thursday where we get perhaps that cold front that will come in and bring us the chance for some severe weather. Our rainfall forecast across the next 72 hours or so does show that dry trending continue. It's not until we get to about Thursday or so where we see that the rain chances start to go up for the Panhandle, and perhaps a few little scattered showers make their way off the east coast of Florida coming in into the Sunshine State. Tomorrow's forecast looks really pleasant with those temperatures going back up into the 70s. But Ollie, what does the rest of the Southeast have to say about those warm temperatures?
The rest of the Southeast is going to be experiencing a very similar take on this warming trend, folks. It is actually currently 60s across the board for most of the Southeast, warming up to 71 down in Miami and 68 in Jackson. But for the most part, it is going to be in the mid 60s for us because of that high pressure we have. You can actually distinctly see that clockwise flow from that high pressure system sitting right over us that just passed from that cold front we just had. So now we have that really nice high pressure giving us these light breezes across the southeast. For that current radar, we see absolutely nothing, folks. We have clear skies here in Tallahassee. Seems like a similar story for the rest of the southeast. It is really nice and clear, so go outside and take advantage of this beautiful weather. I know it's been raining these past couple of days. That water vapor showing pretty dry for us here in the southeast, getting a little bit more moist in Oklahoma City and in Arkansas for these areas. But for the most part, parts, it is quite dry for us here in the southeast. You're actually going to see that with our dew point temperatures, 33 in Tallahassee and 30s across the board for us here in the southeast. It is just quite dry. Again, that's normally what happens after you have a cold front come through the area. You get those dry conditions, really pleasant conditions after all that rain and precipitation. For the SPC storm outlook, we do have a non-severe outlook for the Oklahoma and into parts of Kansas and to parts of northern Texas. So we have non-severe thunderstorms there, but it's going to start ramping up. Into day 2, you have a marginal risk for parts of Missouri and Kansas, and more in that corridor starting in Louisiana up to Missouri. And then boom, you're going to hit a bullseye for day 3. It is going to be a slight risk for most parts of Arkansas into Tennessee, into Dallas area, western portion of Oklahoma, and even parts of Louisiana. So make sure you folks are staying, you guys are staying up to date with your local weather stations, because for these areas you are going to be expecting some severe weather, especially chances for tornadoes, chances for heavy precipitation. So make sure for that day 3 you are staying tuned to your weather stations. For the next 48 hours, again, you're going to see that system coming through, that rain that we're going to be expecting, again, that next cold front that is going to be bringing that pretty severe precipitation for some of these parts in the southeast. For the 72 hours, again, you're going to be seeing that light up right there over Kentucky, I believe. Again, that precipitation is going to be a really big factor for day 3 in our forecast. For tonight's temperatures, it's going to be 40 and 30s for most of us here, warming up as you get to the coast in New Orleans. But make sure you guys bring a jacket. It's going to be quite cold for us here. And if you're in Tennessee, we're doing a little spotlight. It's going to be windy ahead of that cold front. And then you're going to get that thunderstorm we're expecting on Thursday with a temperature of 67. So it's going to be cold, raining, and thunderstorm. Not my cup of tea, folks. For tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be 60 and 70s across the board. Again, like Aaron mentioned, we're going to have a warming trend for us here in the southeast. So you're going to be seeing some summer-like temperatures. But folks, we're going to now pass things off to Nicholas, who's going to liven things up with our sports segment. Nicholas?
Yes, for sure, Ali. Sadly, football season is officially over as of yesterday. We had an incredible Super Bowl, went down to the wire between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. But it seems like now that we're deep into February, we're deep into spring sports season, starting off with baseball and softball. And looking at right now at the Sportsplex, if you are going out, luckily it's going to be a really nice night to go out and play some soccer or frisbee if you are playing out. As the fields hopefully have dried up from this constant rain that we got the last couple days. But tonight is going to be really, really nice, and temperatures will cool just a little bit. As for our first sport of the week, Florida State's women's softball is going to host A&M. On Tuesday, 62 degrees. Actually going to be a really nice night, a little bit cool at 6 p.m., but there, as we can see here on the radar, there will be just some slight cloud cover passing through later on into the evening, but there won't be any sign of precipitation. There will be some strong winds coming from the Gulf Coast from the south. And our Florida State men's swimming is actually playing the ACC championship in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am not sure whether it's an indoor pool or an outdoor pool, but temperatures will be sort of chilly, never hopping above the low 70s. On Thursday it's going to be 72. But if you are going to the game, just keep in mind maybe a sweater or two will suffice for this event. And here you can see that there will be some severe weather west of the Mississippi, but that seems to fizzle out before it reaches North Carolina. You might get some spotted showers and some strong winds here and there, but there doesn't seem to be something too severe for the North Carolina region. And as for Florida State's men's basketball, we lost a heartbreaker to Clemson a couple weeks ago, lost by 1 point here at Doak. Hopefully we can get them back over in their hometown at Clemson. It's going to be 57 degrees, slight winds from the west at 35 miles per hour. So if you are going to the game, it's going to be a really nice night to go out. 63%, and it's going to be clear skies, no rain whatsoever on Tuesday for that basketball game. Although Wednesday and Thursday there will be some rain in Clemson, so if you are hanging out over there in Clemson, just keep in mind there will be some showers heading your way. And as for our next game with the Florida State women's basketball team, who are unfortunately lost to Miami, it will be 68 degrees, and they host Syracuse next game. And for men's baseball finally getting underway, it will be 60 degrees. And for our weekday planner, as you can see, it's going to be a really nice week up until Friday, where there will be some showers. Now, Priscilla, how's it looking for the rest of the country?
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a meteorologist field day, actually. So across the southeast and a little bit of the Midwest, we've got some pretty mild temperatures. It's looking pretty comfortable. But as you look over towards the north and further into the west, that's where we've got some severe weather developing and those cooler temperatures. So taking a look at our dew points, we see it's dry throughout the most of the country, hitting a 17 dew point in Billings, Montana. So it's pretty dry. That's what we can expect of winter. That's what we like to see. San Antonio is a bit of a moister spot, though, at 52. But the rest of the country is looking pretty dry, pretty comfortable. We love to see it. As for our water vapor, we see we've got a system developing. We have two systems currently that we're going to take a look at a little bit later. But we see that moisture associated with them right here over Texas right now and through the Pacific Northwest, stretching across all of Idaho and Montana and pushing forward to the east. As for our drought monitor, we said it's pretty dry, but it's very dry throughout half of the country, as we can see. Lots of red spots, lots of yellow. So these are the systems that we're going to take a look at. So we've got this low pressure system that's more severe than our other system, which is over here in the northwest. But this one is going to bring lots of severe weather that we're going to see here in Florida on Friday. And it's going to bring lots of severe wind, and it's mostly going to push forward this way. And as for this other low system over here, it's bringing lots of accumulated snowfall to the Pacific Northwest, and they're already experiencing that currently. Like I said, we're zooming in right now, and you can see all that snowfall and rain coming in from the coast. As for the rest of the country, we can see just all of this snowfall accumulating, hitting lots of high spots in the mountains over here around Denver and throughout the Midwest. So there's lots of snowfall, even reaching up to 18 inches, up to 24 inches. So if you're in those areas, make sure to take precautions with the snowfall, watch the roads, and just be cautious. As for our alerts, we've got lots of alerts throughout the nation, lots of varying colors, lots of things to be aware of. Looking over here in the northwest, we've got lots of high wind advisories. Those are those browns and yellows, and then these winter storm warnings that are pink, purple, and blue, affecting Seattle, Portland, Washington, Oregon, Montana, Idaho, all of these states around here, even freeze warnings over in California. As for the Midwest and lower Midwest, again, we've got those high wind warnings, winter storm advisories over here, and even a fire weather warning down here in southern Texas. For our temperatures tonight, though, it's going to be pretty chilly. We see lots of below freezing temperatures. Bismarck is 20 degrees, Billings 28, and then we again see that severe weather, rain over here in Seattle. Like I say, it's always raining in Seattle, and even pretty chilly throughout the southeast. Looking forward to tomorrow, that's when we see a little bit more of a temperature gradient that we saw last week. 77 degrees San Antonio, a little warmer throughout Florida, but then we got to see those gradient as you move further throughout the United States, reaching those cooler temperatures. So that's the United States, but Aaron, what's our spotlight state that we're going to take a look at?
Well, we are going to take a look at our Spotlight State segment here across FSU weather, as I'm very tall here on camera. But as we go off to the next graphic here, you can see that on this day in weather history here in Bar Harbor, we're going to talk about the Great Ball of Lightning Storm here in Maine, where this is actually a controversial event, and the weather phenomena actually has been widely debated over time. So this is something really interesting to talk about, folks. So based on eyewitness accounts, purple lightning that appeared like balls of fire. So imagine that sight here up in the sky, emerged during a unique thunderstorm that simultaneously occurred during a snowstorm. So some might call it thunder snow as well, as you might, I know Jim Cantor, if you watch the Weather Channel, you might hear that a lot too. So what exactly is ball lightning? So ball lightning is a rare and randomly occurring ball of light that is observed above a floating or moving around the atmosphere close to the ground here, so around a thunderstorm or so. It has a radius of about 15 to 50 centimeters, so it's not terribly large, but it's about this large, perhaps, give or take a few. And it's purple or orange, so it is certainly a sight to see. If you can see it, I personally have never seen it before, but I'm sure it'd be really interesting to see. And it only lasts for a few seconds before disappearing, so you might have to watch out, folks. Make sure you don't blink when you see that. So here is actually a visual image of it over some rail tracks here. So that, no, that is not, Peter Pan coming out of existence here with his magic. That is actually the actual ball lightning here. So it's purple, and it's certainly a sight to see here. So exactly how does lightning form? Well, we have charged particles. We have positively charged particles on the tops of the clouds and down on the ground. What we do is we see the difference of that charge. We might see perhaps when you rub your head against a balloon here, that static electricity builds up, and we see that lightning bolt here branching down towards the ground, and that's what we see here in the sky as lightning. So essentially lightning is just a giant static electricity that you might see from the carpet or when you rub your head against a balloon. So our satellite and radar here, we're showing that those showers and those snowstorms, for the most part, should remain over the Midwest. But zooming in closer to New England, we have that area of low pressure is moving away from the area, and that actually did bring some snow and that rainfall across much of the Northeast. And right now it's looking fairly cloudy and perhaps a few hit or miss snow showers or so across the area. Our snowfall forecast will feature perhaps a little bit of snowfall across the Midwest. We're probably upwards of about almost a foot or so. So excuse me, I should say actually quite a bit of snowfall there, specifically across Sioux Falls over towards about Des Moines, Iowa, where they perhaps could see up to about a foot, and then over towards Maine, a little bit lighter amounts, perhaps about 1 to 2 inches of snow. So tonight's forecast across Bar Harbor, Maine will feature those snow showers coming in from the west at about 20 degrees. So it's a little bit chilly here, and with those winds perhaps making it feel a little bit chillier than that, at about 9 miles per hour or so. And for that weekday planner here across Bar Harbor, Maine, we'll see those temperatures gradually warming up into the middle to upper 40s by the middle of the week until we eventually have that next system coming in 12 degrees for that low temperature between Thursday and Friday. It is chilly. And we'll have to see perhaps when that rainfall does come in where that could perhaps play a role in if we get snow here across Bar Harbor in Maine. But Ale, how do you feel about perhaps those colder temperatures in Bar Harbor, Maine? I am so glad we live in Florida for that exact reason.
Absolutely. It is just too chilly there for us here in Florida, and we're going to liven things up with our lifestyle. And it's quite toasty here compared to Maine. 67, sunny, absolutely no clouds in the sky, as you can see from our live look at the res. It is a beautiful afternoon to start getting your cuddling in because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Our current temperatures across the board is going to be 60s, actually in the upper 60s for some parts down in Crawfordville, 67. It's not too chilly outside. It's really nice weather. Definitely going to be warming up this week as we can see. Wind speed, we do have just a light breeze for most of us here in the southeast. Atlanta, 12 miles per hour. Quite a breeze, nice day. So it's definitely going to be really nice conditions when you go out and enjoy your lovely afternoon. If you're flying today, it is cloudy, but there are no delays. Again, that beautiful high pressure sitting over us is helping us out with that. And for most of the nation, you really are not expecting any delays, low delays for all of the nation. Really nice weather for most of us, unless you're in Maine freezing your butt off. Tonight, if you are planning on going stargazing, it is going to be beautiful conditions. That waning crescent is going to be not too bright in the sky, so you're going to have really nice conditions for stargazing. You can go out, start cuddling with your partner, getting ready for Valentine's Day. If you're going out tonight, it's going to be chilly, folks. It's going to be 49, dipping down to 42 at 1 a.m. Make sure you bring your jacket unless you are just invulnerable to the cold. I don't know. I would like to be staying in and cuddling, maybe drinking some hot chocolate because that is just a little bit too chilly for me. And Stroger 38, folks. Look at that. Okay? I know last week it was pretty toasty, but 38, I don't know if I would like to be going out in that. That's quite cold for us, especially already in February. If you're driving tomorrow, 48, warming up to 71. That is a really stark diurnal temperature change. It's going to be clear outside. So again, you're going to have a lot of warming from that sun. And looking at that hour by hour, you see 34 all the way up to 70, folks. That is just a ramp of heat. I don't know. It's going to be quite toasty tomorrow. Really nice day for Valentine's Day, but it's pretty stark. Look at that, 73, starting out 34. I don't know. That's a lot. It's going to be partly cloudy, but it's going to be a beautiful day to spend with your loved one, your significant other, your boo, so you can cuddle, maybe go on a little date night for Valentine's Day. But getting more serious for that forecast, it is going to be quite moist for us, especially if you're in Memphis. It's going to be really just not so great conditions for these next 3 days. I know we're expecting some severe weather for some of us in the southeast. And for that weekday planner, again, it is going to be really nice until it's not. We're expecting some rain on Friday. It's going to be 66. But you know what, Spencer? I'm wondering, how's it looking locally?
Thanks, Ale. So right now we can see we have an absolutely beautiful sunset here over Doak Campbell Stadium. Some nice oranges and even some blues and purple colors higher up without those clouds. So right now we are looking at some gorgeous temperatures, 66 degrees here in Tallahassee, 62 in Thomasville, and 62 as well down in Apalachicola. So right now we have very little to speak of on the radar, just a little bit of storms maybe earlier here in Liberty County and a little pop-up here out in Leon County. but some of this other random specks of green, as we call ground scattering. Basically, there was could be things like smoke in the atmosphere or birds, just something that might set off the radar beam. But it's not really any precipitation. So here we can see the winds for the next few days. And here I'll move over to this side so you guys can get a bit of a better look. So we have a very stark, I don't know if you saw that, shift in the winds from essentially coming from this way. We have a high pressure, and that's going to cause the wind shift to the clockwise direction, so out of the south. And tonight in Tallahassee, 38 degrees. So as you guys have noticed, there's very few clouds out today. So what that's going to help do is that's going to help a lot of the energy that the ground absorbs throughout the day. It's going to help radiate that overnight. And since there's no clouds up top, that's going to basically, nothing is there to trap the heat down at the surface. So it's going to help these temperatures dip down into the upper 30s. So definitely pretty chilly tonight. So like we mentioned, very chilly temperatures, 39 in Monticello and Tallahassee, 40 out in Bainbridge, and it's a bit warmer temperatures here cuddling the coast, 45 in St. Mark's and 46 out in Apalachicola. And for anyone walking a dog tomorrow morning, so we are going to see a very, very sharp change in temperatures tomorrow. 39 degrees, definitely going to want to have at least a few layers of clothing on. It's going to be definitely very cold. It'll warm up about 10 degrees over the next 2 hours, maybe about 48 degrees, 50 degrees by 9 a.m. And by 11, we should be seeing temperatures in the 60s. And tomorrow as well, if you are going to be riding your bike, definitely going to want to have a jacket or a windbreaker in the morning, but that will warm up closer to the afternoon. And a quick hour by hour, so you can see tomorrow it's going to start off really cold early in the morning in the mid to low 30s, and that is going to pick up more and more throughout the day, peaking up into 70 degrees. And for our look at the next week ahead, gorgeous day tomorrow for Valentine's Day with temperatures in the 70s, and that's going to continue off for the rest of the week with lows tapering off by the weekend. We're going to send things off over to the desk for a close for our show.
Thank you, Spencer. I don't know about you, Jason, but I'm pretty excited for these nice clear days. These last few days that were pretty rainy. Might have been good cuddling weather, but not so much for going out and doing sports. At least watching the Super Bowl was pretty fun. How did you spend it?
Yeah, it was. I spent Saturday just staying inside, maybe watching some Game of Thrones, and then Sunday sadly I was at the library all day doing some homework, but I wish I was outside because it was beautiful outside, but still kind of damp on the grass and everything. So we couldn't go running outside or anything like that because it was still wet, but it was pretty nice, yeah.
I'm pretty happy about these cooler temperatures because this last couple months, actually, January and February, have been abnormally warm. So finally getting some temperatures that are dipping into the 30s is pretty good, especially for me from Miami that I don't really get to experience that kind of temperatures ever throughout the year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, hopefully this stays a little more longer because when April hits, that's going to start getting warm just fast, and I don't like that. I want it to stay as cold as long as possible, but I think we're in the wrong state for that. But.
Yeah, hopefully maybe we get one more front. So if you are watching us, please follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSUweather.
And then like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSUweather.
And if you are watching us, you're probably watching us live on YouTube. So please subscribe at youtube.com/FSUweather.
And then follow us on Instagram at FSUweather.
And also please follow us on TikTok. We do have a TikTok now, and we post good, funny, weather-related videos. So please follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, I really like the TikTok. It's posting a lot more. It's really good content. But now we're going to send it off to the 7-day to end the show.
Thank you.